Okay, well, why don't we get started? Good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Banks, and I am the Director of Sales at Clients First. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule and all that holiday shopping to join us this morning. For those of you who have been through some of the SMI webinars previously, the person who will be talking momentarily will be no stranger to you, and that's Debbie Hill. Debbie is one of the top sales engineers at Sage Software and has a strong familiarity with the new Sage intelligence tool, which is SMI. And what we thought we'd do today is allow Debbie to take you into a little deeper show of the product so that you can kind of learn the real value of the tools that are going to be available to all of you with the products that you currently have that are Sage. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Debbie, and Debbie's going to take you into the SMI product. So Debbie?
Great, thanks, Jeff. And again, welcome everyone. So let's take a look at today's agenda. It's really straightforward. We're going to go over the workflow one more time, the modules and components one more time, and then we'll take a look at the demonstration. So for those of you that were at the user group, or if you attended the first session, we had a lot of slides and a lot of talking points. And on the flip side, today we're going to do mostly demonstration. So with that said, let's start our review, again, with the workflow. So here's the Sage Mass Intelligence workflow. This is exactly what we're going to look at in the demonstration, how we're going to build these reports. We're going to look through all the components and then go ahead and distribute it. So just for a refresher, Sage Mass Intelligence, this is how it works. You've got all your little pieces of data. Remember, those are all data sets from any ODBC compliant data source. So it's not just your mass data, it's not just your Sage data, it's anything. And again, ODBC compliant, I would say 90% of the products out there are. It's just open database connectivity. So anything, again, it's built with this compliance, unless you have something that's rather outdated or perhaps someone, a friend of the organization, built the program. But in general, I'm very confident most all of the programs you're using are ODBC compliant. That means we have those little boxes that will fit in this data set, and we can use that data in Sage Mass Intelligence. So again, we take this data, all those little different data sets, and we put them in the connector module. Again, we'll see this in detail today in the demonstration. So we're connecting all those little bits of data. We put them through our security, which we'll also take a look at. That goes into the report manager, so we can build our report, build the columns, the rows, get everything in the layout we like, and then we'll send it to Excel. Again, remember, Excel is the engine behind Sage Mass Intelligence, and that's one of the primary reasons for Sage choosing this product, is because Excel is the worldwide #1 report writer. So moving away from FRX, again, that was a very specific product. Not everyone knew how to build reports. It was a lot more complicated. Now with Excel, most everyone's used Excel. Either you are the Excel expert or you know someone who is. And so by using the Sage Mass Intelligence tool, you can use and take advantage of all of your current Excel knowledge and build it into these reports moving forward. So again, one additional feature, one of the many additional features we're getting, is we can take these Excel workbooks, we can publish them to a web server, so you can have them scheduled and run and distribute automatically across your organization. Or what we're going to do in the demonstration is take it from a workbook just to my user desktop so we can see that. But again, with FRX, you did require a drill-down license to view any of the reports. But you can see from this distribution here, as long as you have Microsoft Office installed, you can view an Excel workbook. So that's our workflow between all the components. Let's just briefly go over our icons. Again, this is just a high level. We went into the detail, and all these PowerPoints are available for you after the conference, after the calls. So Report Manager, this is what is the FRX replacement. It's replacing the FRX Report Designer. It allows you to create, design, run your reports, get them in the format you like. Again, distribute them. You can print them to PDF. Any sort of report management. This is really the bulk of the SMI engine. Report Viewer, again, comparable to the launcher, the FRX launcher. All the reports that exist, you can define who has access to what, and then users can go ahead, pull the report, change the parameters that have been set, for example, period, division, depending on what's available. You can't edit anything, but you can at least run the reports. Security Manager, obviously we need to keep everything tightly secured. It does respect the masked security that's set up in role maintenance and user maintenance. License Manager, that's where you enter your keys. Client First will get that set up for you. That's a one-time thing. You won't need to worry about that. But here's what we're really going to focus on today, the connector module and the report designer. So the connector does just that. It connects all information across your entire organization. So it's not just your mass data. It's not just any of your stage application data. It's anything that you're using organization-wide, any bit of information that's out there, the connector module is going to bring those bits of information in and allow you to build reports. And again, building reports, this is our business intelligence. We want to be proactive. We want to be able to retrieve our information in an intuitive manner so we can make good business decisions. And again, we can make decisions based on good data. So we want to make sure everyone's accessing the same data set, everyone's able to analyze their divisions, their departments based on correct information. So with the connector module, we're getting data, again, across the entire organization, pulling it into an intelligent report so you can make your business decisions. Now that brings us to the report designer. This is another module. This is the Excel add-in. So when it comes to building reports, again, connector, we're going to pull all the data together. Report manager, we're going to build the report. But with the report designer, there's a lot of key points here that will help you build reports, modify reports, and again, it's an Excel add-in, so you can take advantage of your Excel skills and anything you don't have, or if you perhaps want to take those skills to the next level, the report designer is a great tool to help you do that. So we're going to see these all in the demonstration. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the first part of the demonstration. We're going to modify an income statement. And I'm going to just hop real quick. We're first going to modify an income statement. So here we've got what we've been tasked with. We're going to show actual versus prior for the first 2 quarters only. So right now you might have your regular income statement, obviously by period, by quarter, that's all standard. But if we wanted to build a report, again, this is our task for the first 2 quarters, actual versus prior. So let's take a look at modifying an existing income statement. I'll hop over to Math, and we've got our intelligence here. Again, we're in 4.4. Let's take a look and open up Sage Math Intelligence. So this is the Report Manager. Again, replacing Report Designer. Now, notice we're logging into our company. We've got our username and our password. So all of the permissions that were set within Math and all of the permissions that were set within Math Intelligence, all of those are going to be respected based on your login here. Now, the first thing we're going to do is actually create a new folder. And this is so we can keep all of our reports in one area. It's also good to always copy reports. So we're not, we can keep the integrity of the original template. I'm just going to copy and paste it in my reports. And again, go ahead and rename it. I'll just call it mine. Perfect. Okay, so easy enough. There, we've got our report. And again, when we start building folders, this is another way to add security and different parameters. So each individual or perhaps each group in the office or organizations can have their own folder, and that way you're only accessing the folders that you have options to and information to. So we talked about parameters. Again, we saw this in the last, oops, I saw that right, in the last demonstration, but all the parameters can be defined, a limited amount, whatever you need. It does go back to the original mass table. We're just going to do our data for 2010 and the original budget. So when we pull up the designer, again, this was our task. We're doing an income statement showing actual versus prior, but only for the first 2 quarters. So when we use the designer, this is again the tool that's going to help us quickly and easily create reports. And I'll show the difference between using the designer. But again, if you have the Excel expert on staff, or if you're the expert in your office, there's a number of different ways. We can still use the tool, but you can still use your existing skills. So what we're going to do with the designer, I'm a big fan of copying information, copying layouts, copying formats. At any point, you do have the option to actually start from scratch and build it from a blank template. However, I'm more of not recreating the wheel and just modifying what we have. So we've got our designer, and we're going to go ahead and launch the designer tool, and this will begin our building process. And it looks like we've got a little bit of a delay here. There we go. So we've got our report designer. It's actually pulled all the information, all of our financial information. Now we can go ahead with our task here. We're going to go to BI Tools. This is a new tab that the designer module has. So we can go ahead and edit any of our reports. We can generate any of the reports. We've got a number of different options here. Now, remember last time when we took a look at the standard financial reports that are available in the Report Manager, this was a list of some of them, but it's the exact same layouts that you currently have in your General Ledger standard financial statements. So all of those combinations are available in this tool as well. And remember, you can continue to use those standard financial statements. Those are output in Crystal. You can continue to use FRX, and this is just an additional tool now we can go ahead, install it, and start using. So there's our standard layouts. I'm going to go ahead and launch the tool for the financial report. Again, this is the designer module. So like I mentioned before, I prefer to copy. We do have the option to do a new layout, build it from scratch, or we're going to load a layout. And again, our task was to create an income statement showing actual versus prior for the first 2 quarters. So actual versus prior income statement, and I'm going to copy it. It's going to be my half-year report. Oops. Trying to use shortcuts here. This is my half-year report, and this is the designer tool. So it's going to load. There's going to be a lot of boxes. We're going to explain those boxes just real quickly. So unlike the FRX designer, you don't have to know any of the formulas, the at tote, the at calc. You don't have to go through the row format and then the column format. Actually, everything's combined into this one report designer. So let's explain a little bit what we're looking at here. It's pretty straightforward. Columns, these are all our columns, and these are all our rows. So for the columns, I'm going to clear everything because we're going to modify it again. Remember, we just see the first 2 quarters. For the rows, same thing, we can clear everything, but this is the basic income statement format. Obviously, your sales, cost of sales, profit percentage, etc., all of your expenses, earnings, net income or loss. So this is standard income statement, and again, I'm a fan of copying, so I'm going to leave all this intact because we don't need to reinvent the wheel here. But I want to show you how easy it is to actually create a report based on just using this report designer. So all of our green boxes here on the left, these are all fields from MAS. These are all data fields. So they look familiar: account, account description, company name, etc. All of the blue ones, these are calculated fields. And obviously this makes sense because activity quarter one, that's a calculated field. We're combining information. Prior year activity year to date, again, all of these are calculations. So our task when we come to create an income statement, it's actual versus prior for the first 2 quarters. So what we're going to do, activity quarter one, activity quarter 2. Oh, actually, and then let's go ahead and remove that. Activity quarter 1, prior year quarter 1. We're going to add a spacer. Activity quarter 2, prior quarter 2. Again, quite straightforward. Add a spacer. And now let's get some totals. So if we want the total of the half year, we look through all of our formulas and we can probably determine that it's not going to be there. Again, we're combining 2 quarters. So we can go ahead and create a new formula. And this is going to be very straightforward. Again, green, this means it's just an existing field. And we're going to do our entire half year activity. Where are we here? And that means adding all 6 periods. So the first half of the year, I'm using my function items. So we're building a formula here. We're building an Excel formula, but rather than having to know, again, this is very basic, rather than having to know the Excel formulas, we can use this tool. So just like FRX, you don't have to be, FRX, you do have to be an expert to build these reports. With Sage Mass Intelligence, you don't have to be the FRX expert. You don't even have to be an Excel expert. We can go ahead and use this tool here. It's really straightforward, function items, point and click. So that's our 6 periods. 6 months. And excuse the spelling mistakes there. So we've created that new form.